operating according to a method of decision-making known as consensus. Now, what happened was that we had some very obvious, easy, immediate decisions to take. So we knew that in order to sustain our occupation, we needed to set up a kitchen. We knew we needed sanitation. We knew we needed to sort out shelter and how it was going to get arranged. And we also knew we needed to sort out legal. And when that decision came through, my heart sank, because I realised I could not go along and help with the shelter, or the kitchen, or the direct action, relive my youth. No, I better turn up the legal forum. So I went along, and I could see the forums were convened by people holding up cardboard signs, and I could see the hundreds of people gathering around the putative housing crew, the various other ones, and then there was this chap holding up the cardboard sign that said legal, and 9 of us turned up there, mostly people who happened to be sitting around me, and we went over there. So the other people there, I think 5 of them didn't know anything about law at all. 2 of them were students from UCL who declared immediately their opening remarks that they were going to leave in 2 hours and never come back. And there was a couple of other people, and there was me. And I said, well, I've got some legal experience, I'm qualified, I've practiced for a number of years, and so on. And the immediate question was, who owns this land, and how can we defend ourselves from getting evicted from here? And then when we reconvened, had another General Assembly, and then the first working groups started again. And when I went back to the legal forum, I found the piece of cardboard on the floor and held it up, and after a bit I realised it was going to be a forum of 1. Which does lead to a certain efficiency, if nothing else. So as a consequence of that night, I had the pleasure of recruiting John Cooper QC, just very quickly, just to advise me directly on behalf of the camp. So he acted for free for the camp. And later on, it was me that recruited Kane Todner, which was the firm of city solicitors that dealt with the documentation and correspondence for the High Court eviction case. So it's my fault to a large extent that the camp persisted for so long, because had we not made it very clear to the City of London Corporation in those early hours and days that we were seriously well advised and well organised on the legal front, I've no doubt that certainly if we hadn't defended their eviction action, we would have just lost. At the first High Court hearing, instead of it being a case management hearing to set up a proper trial, we'd have just been kicked out. End of story. So Occupy had some, in my view, I'm talking very specifically about Occupy London, but let's be honest, that was the biggest Occupy camp out of the entire Occupy movement. It was also there was another camp in London as well, which lasted longer than St Paul's, but the collective of the camps in Occupy London were the most persistent in the Occupy movement in terms of their day-to-day being there, not going away and coming back again. And it worked very, very well in terms of the consensus model, which is essentially that nothing is agreed until everyone agrees. It worked very, very well for making obvious, immediate decisions. It also worked very, very well for generating cohesiveness amongst disparate groups of people. And so to address directly the question of where is Occupy going, what I'm going to say is it's going into the history books permanently. What it has done is it has reinvigorated and reinvented in modern language what had become so unfashionable that it was a faux pas to even say it. Class struggle, the 99% against the 1%, has now, this language has now become a commonplace on everyone's lips. People who didn't even pass through the tent zips of the camp. So it was very, very good at all of that. Unfortunately, it was absolutely useless at making any kind of complex decision at all. So, for example, just purely in terms of the strategy of the camp, we should have been able to make some basic decisions. Now, I personally was in favour of not making the camp a permanent thing until we achieved worldwide glorious revolution, but having some time limit on it. But never mind about my point of view, there may well have been other points of view, but it didn't matter because the camp was absolutely incapable of making any decision whatsoever. And in fact, the meetings just before the High Court trial started, people spent up to an hour arguing about where to sit. Now, I'm sorry, but this is not a cohesive political movement. What happened was we went from 5,000 people turning up